Zach, it's still E3.
It is still E3.
We need to talk about the first real conference. We talked a little about Stadia and that Destiny thing, but the big show was Microsoft, which happened on Sunday.
The biggest show. Yeah, we're maybe a little bit late on this, but it is a very exciting show, so I'm happy to talk about it.
I think the way we should do this is just to go down the list of all the announcements. It's crazy because I was taking notes for most of the press conferences that have happened so far. Most of my notes are half a page, but this Microsoft one dips into a second page because there's just so much going on.
Yeah, I basically was typing out every game as they were introducing them and talking about them. So they said 60 games, 34 of them were available in Game Pass. So I guess, yeah, let's just run down the list of games that were showed off and we can talk about what we think about either them, and then eventually at the end we'll get to Project Scarlet.
Yes. So right off the bat, I will say that I think I liked their press conference last year better.
Yeah, we can talk about that because I think it was cool because they had so many things to show, but at the same time, it was a little disappointing compared to last year just because there was something new and interesting that we hadn't seen before at the beginning. There was a one more thing at the end last year.
Exactly.
There wasn't one on this one. And there was actual gameplay. There was no gameplay throughout this entire thing. It was just cinematics, except for some of the
cinematics.
The smaller ones, I guess there was a few in the indie games. There was probably some gameplay sprinkled in there, but yeah, surprising, not a lot of gameplay. So, and also to start off with a known quantity and end with a known quantity and not have there be any sort of new gameplay. Especially gameplay for games that are already known quantities, the big ones in this show, they could have shown us some sort of gameplay for, but yeah, let's get into it because they started out with The Outer Worlds, which was on my list. It was one of my top five most excited, looking forward to things, and the trailer was really awesome. It was a very good trailer. It just seemed weird to start with that one and then to also not have any gameplay to go with it. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't get this. Why would you wasn't this a cover story? This was a Game Informer cover story already, right?
Yeah, that's true. It was a while ago.
This is such a known quantity.
It's true, and not an exclusive either. So.
But it's coming out October 25th. Was this the reveal of the release date, or did we know that too?
That's a good question. I don't remember if we had seen a release date before this or not. So maybe that was some new information, but...
I'm into this game, even though it wasn't on my list. This is something I'll definitely play, because Fallout New Vegas was a great game, and this seems like a great little weird... we talked about it in our, most anticipated. The depth of this game, choice-wise, is going to be really cool.
Yeah, for sure. The trailer, I don't know if they just showed different parts of the game from previous trailers, but it looked very, very cool. And I'm hearing more closer to 30 hours of gameplay.
Oh, really?
And so not one of the huge 100-hour RPGs or whatever, but also not an unsubstantial 8 to 10.
Yeah, it's a good chunk of change.
It's a good sized game and something that there's definitely going to be that replay value too. So yeah, I'm very much into this game.
Moving right along, Bleeding Edge, which as far as I can tell is a 4v4 third-person arena brawler that has an alpha in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, a new game from Ninja Theory. It looked weird, they were kind of going for a little bit of a maybe Borderlands sort of zany, irreverent sort of style to it that I was kind of not digging upon first view, but...
I got more of an Overwatch vibe.
Yeah, I guess I can see that.
Just as heroes and a little bit of each one of these heroes has specific things going on and there's maybe story behind them type thing. I guess that defines a lot of games, but Overwatch did it first.
Yeah, I can see why you'd say that. It also kind of made me think a little bit of Rage, where they're just kind of a little over the top going for that vibe, and I don't know, I wasn't into it, but I don't know, maybe if I saw some gameplay or tested it out during the alpha, then
yeah, June 27th is the alpha.
I mean, it'll probably be worth checking out, seeing what it's like. before passing like final judgment on it, but I was not necessarily into what I saw right away.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which I feel like has this been at 2 E3s?
It has. Yeah, I was at last E3 as well.
I don't know, like I'm into this as like a concept. I never played the first one, but I know it's very well loved, but I mean, good. I'm neutral on this. What about you?
It looks nice. I like the visuals of it. The music is great. I started the last one and played a bit of it, and I really enjoyed what I did play of it. I probably should go back and try to play more of it, but yeah, spring 2020? No, February 11th, 2020 is what it was. And I don't know, I feel like early 2020 is going to be rough. Like there's going to be a lot releasing just ahead of like the next console generation, trying to be that last wave. And this is one of those games that is gonna probably be very good and like critically lauded and just get completely crushed under the weight of like so many other big releases. So unfortunately, that's kind of what I think is going to happen, but it looks good.
Then on to the first thing where I was like, whoa, this is something I'm interested in. Minecraft Dungeons, which is basically Minecraft Diablo.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not played Minecraft. I'm interested in that mobile game, but this was not on my radar at all.
This looks great because like I thought, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought it was first person, just like Minecraft, but it's not. It's like isometric, which is crazy to me. It's like, I'm very interested in this.
Are you building?
No, I don't think so. I think the whole thing about Minecraft Dungeons is it was just set in Minecraft, sort of like those like Minecraft story mode games. I don't think you're crafting or building at all. I'm pretty sure you might be crafting. But I'm pretty sure it's just like a Diablo style type thing where you're getting loot.
It was confusing to me because I wasn't sure. I mean, it seemed clear enough that it was going for like a Diablo vibe, but I wasn't sure if Minecraft as just like a combat thing was compelling enough to people to want that sort of a game from it, but maybe.
I played a game called, I want to say it was called like Hammer Watch on Steam. And it was a little similar to this in that you could team up with like 3 other people, which by the way, we should say this has local co-op with Switch, which is great.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I like that, like, it's almost like Gauntlet Legends from N64 back in the day, where you're just like 4 people playing around on this crazy isometric landscape, collecting stuff and getting through low. I don't know. This was something I'm very positive on, and I really want to see more. It's coming out in spring 2020, they say.
Yeah, the apocalypse of games coming out in the first part of 2020.
Then we got more Star Wars, which we got at EA.
Which release date is November 15th of this year.
November is going to be a hot time as well.
Yeah, the end of this year and the first half of next year are going to be crazy just because everybody's trying to get their like the end of generation games out before next generation hits. But yeah, this game looks cool. We didn't get to do an EA Play discussion, and I don't know what you thought of the gameplay from that was shown off at EA, but it looks pretty good to me. I'm kind of into this game. I was surprised that there was not more gameplay or something at the Microsoft. It was an all cinematic trailer. But yeah, I don't know. I will probably end up playing this game.
I think so too, because I've heard it's like heavily inspired by Metroid Prime, which is very interesting to me.
Oh yeah.
I like the exploration in that type of game. Yeah, I give this a thumbs up from Aaron.
Yeah, Game Informer put up an article about how it was supposed to be sort of a mashup of Metroid and Dark Souls, but not
weird mashup.
Yeah. But like not in that the difficulty that's like crushing as far as Dark Souls goes, like a little bit more deliberate maybe is what they were trying to go for. And then in Metroid, the inspiration is like you'll come across an area that is sort of locked off to you, and you have to go find like a piece of gear or something that will later allow you to get back through that area.
No waypoints though. There's not waypoints.
Yeah.
It's like very organic how you explore.
So yeah, I'm curious to see how those two inspirations sort of play out in this game, but I don't know. It seems really cool to me, so I'm in.
So next is a thing that I like is a thing where you don't know what it is, because I thought this was like 5 different things what it was showing. It was like a horror game, and I was like, oh, is this some sort of like Evil Within like sequel, or is it an Alan Wake type thing? Or like,
yeah, that's what I thought it
this?
was going to be at first. I was like, is this Alan Wake 2?
And then he had a camera, and I was like, oh, what was that one camera game?
Oh,
when you
yeah,
were in
yeah.
that insane asylum? But
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
And then it was Blair Witch.
Blair Witch, the game.
What a weird thing.
I mean, people are into it. I don't know. I'm not into horror movies or horror games, but
I agree.
I mean, I guess if you're into both of those things, this would be really exciting. So,
And then, Zach, we get to
the biggest moment of the show.
probably of all of E3.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that right now. Unless Nintendo does something crazy tomorrow. This was the E3 of this happening.
It's true. This was definitely the biggest thing, and since Nintendo doesn't do like a live show, I have a hard time believing they're gonna do something that's gonna top just this as a moment as you're watching it. It was the Cyberpunk cinematic trailer. A little weird that it was cinematic and not like some sort of gameplay, but it was cool. It was also really weird just thinking about what was happening in the cinematic, because it was like some character that we've seen and like we saw was a part of a mission from the gameplay that we saw last year is like dead, and like you're talking to this other guy that was helping you out, and he like wants to kill you, and you end up killing him. It was like all this stuff happening. You're like, whoa, is this like spoilers? Should I not be watching this right now? And then reveal that Keanu Reeves is in this game.
This was the thing. There are a few moments in gaming where I need to see people reacting to things. Like when the original Switch trailer came out, where they showed you like, what is this? What is the Switch? I watched probably 50 videos of people watching that just to like see like, oh, you can take the sides off. Oh, 2 people can play at once. And this was a thing where I was Googling like people watching this press conference to see their reactions to this, because the way they do it is so cool. Like you open your eyes and you see someone's torso, and then he squats down and it's it's Keanu Reeves, and he takes off his sunglasses and it's Keanu Reeves, and then he comes out on stage and people are losing their minds.
It's true. Like the entire place like erupted. Everybody was dying, and then it was actually hilarious. At one point, Keanu Reeves was like, "It's a breathtaking world," and some guy shouts out, "You're breathtaking," and Keanu Reeves like, kind of without missing a beat, goes, "No, you're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking," and it ended up being this like huge thing. Apparently the guy who said that or like shouted it out is a YouTuber named Peter Sark, and the CD Projekt Red saw him tweeting about that because he was also like holding his phone out recording the thing as it was happening. And so CD Projekt Red replied to him, and they were like, by the way, because that was an awesome moment, we're gonna give you a free like collector's edition copy of the game. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
What a crazy thing. Like this, Keanu Reeves is like at his peak right now, because John Wick is like firing on all cylinders. And I didn't even know this, but I guess he's in the new Toy Story movie.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that. I guess.
I didn't know that either.
It's funny.
Like,
yeah, I mean, after this, everybody was like, in every trailer, is Keanu going to show up? Is he going to be there?
How awesome would that be if there was a point in, man, what was it? I think it was in the Ubisoft press conference. It was in the Division. They're showing like what the Division will be in the new year. And there was a part where I was like, man, could Keanu show up? But it didn't happen. There's no way to top this. And like, I'll spoiler for the rest of this press conference. It goes down a little bit downhill from here, but this was like definitely the highlight of it was so crazy. It got me so amped.
It's true. Like it came at a weird point in the show. It was sort of first half, but like not the very beginning and not the very end. And if the hype for Cyberpunk couldn't get like any higher, or if you thought it couldn't get any higher, like after this, they've somehow managed to like keep this a secret and just blow everybody's minds again with this game. Like, I don't know. I'm over the moon for this game. Also,
I couldn't agree more.
Release date, April 16th, 2020.
This is going to be a crazy
There's a lot of
half.
speculation that they're not going to meet that they're going to have to push it back again. Apparently that happened with The Witcher 3 as well. They pushed it back multiple times. So there's a lot of people saying that there's no way they're going to meet that. But keep your hopes up, keep your fingers crossed. Maybe April 16th.
Cut to a weird 2D cartoon like boat game.
Yeah, Spiritfarer was what it was called. Some 2D cartoon thing. It looked like drawing. I
like the art style of this, and you have like a 2D boat, almost like the cutout of the Belafonte in Life Aquatic.
Oh, sure.
And you are just like customizing it, I guess, and going from place to place and figuring stuff out. Maybe you're ferrying spirits. I'm not really sure what's going on, but I like the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, I actually, at first I was like, oh man, I don't know why you're trying to follow up Cyberpunk with this. But then like, as it kept going, I was like, I'm actually kind of digging this art style.
Battletoads. Zach, do you care about this at all?
No, I know it's like a thing. People are into Battletoads, I guess. It's like, I don't know. It's sort of a cult classic, I guess, from way back when. And now it's back and it's like this sort of hand-drawn animation style. And
yeah, I was not expecting it to be this cartoony, but I guess I'm on board for it. I mean, I don't have a lot of nostalgia for Battletoads, but I think it's like a penny arcade thing from back in the early aughts. Like they made a joke about it, and that's why. Or I don't know if
why it became a huge
that.
thing in the consciousness or whatever.
I'm not sure. I don't know what the origin of it is. I'm probably have to go to like knowyourmeme.com or something to figure it out.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm not up on whatever it is that has made this rise to like public consciousness, but it's back.
I know it's famous for being very hard. Like you would see it at GDC and people would be playing it blindfolded, but
yeah.
Speaking of interesting art styles, RPG Time: The Legend of Wright is a weird thing that takes place almost entirely on notebooks. It's like a Yoshi's Crafted World type scenario where there's a lot of cardboard. What did you think about this?
It looked kind of busy to me, to the point where I couldn't always tell where I was supposed to be looking.
Yeah, I kind of got that as well, especially when there were like big fight scenes being illustrated and you had to keep track of the main character.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like, it was a cool art style, and like they're definitely doing something very different. So you have to kind of applaud them for that, but I don't know. I don't know if this is something I'm into just on the first glance.
Then they talked a lot about Game Pass. There was a little sizzle reel where they talked about like, hey, if you want to play that Master Chief Collection, it's going to be on PC. And I guess it's $9.99. They also said like, oh, you can get the Ultimate Game Pass for $1 right now. But I didn't understand what that meant.
The way they put it together was super confusing. So it launches today as of Sunday, it launched in beta, I guess, for $4.99, later to go up to a full price of $9.99. And the first month you could get for $1. I don't know how long the beta period is supposed to last or why there even is a beta. Supposedly this is just a thing where you are able to download games. So I don't know why they would need to run a beta for that. And then there's also like sort of an ultimate subscription that you can do for like $15 that gives you Xbox Live and Game Pass on both console and PC.
I'm neutral on this. I had heard previously that it was going to be $5 a month, and at that price point, I was like, oh yeah, I'll definitely try this out. But 10, I feel like is a little too much, a little too rich for my blood.
Well, so the $4.99 price was the beta period pricing, which
I thought beta was $1.
No. That's the first month. So yeah, the $4.99
too confusing.
That's what I mean. This, like, the way they put this all together and showed it was not clear to me. I had to actually do a little bit of research. So yeah, the beta is $4.99. Again, I don't know why there's a beta or why they need to do a beta or how long it's gonna last. But for like, I guess a limited time, it's $1 for the first month. And then it goes into beta, so the price goes up to $4.99. I don't know how long that lasts. And then after that, the regular pricing is $9.99. I don't know. I'm confused.
Whatever.
I don't like. I think it's cool. It's probably a good price point and a good service. I'm not super into necessarily anything that they showed as being on that list. Supposedly there's more than what they said was on the list, because they said there was over 100, and they definitely didn't say 100 games. Yeah. But none of them jumped out at me as like, oh, I need to play this now.
I agree.
So, I mean, it's a good deal, but you have to be interested in what's available.
Mm-hmm. Then they started showing like large landscapes, like beautifully rendered landscapes, and there was text on screen that said like, you know, utilizing satellite data and Azure AI. And we're like, oh man, what is this? And then I guess it's a super realistic, super accurate flight simulator. What did you think about this?
Well, so you remember Flight Simulator back in the day?
Yeah.
I guess they're just bringing that back and utilizing their satellite data and Azure to map it all out.
But like with the satellite data, like how fine is that definition? Like, is the fidelity such that I can see my house?
I don't know.
Can I fly a plane into my house?
That's the question. I'm curious if you can literally just fly over your house with a plane if you wanted to.
I'm interested in that, but probably living in the rural Midwest, they have not. Like, if we lived in like New York City, I bet we could find our specific building.
I'm sure it's only like specific places. It's not like literally the entire planet.
Do you care about Age of Empires 2, Zach?
No, I don't really care about RTSs, to be honest.
I played a bunch of Age of Empires 2 when I was a kid, but I don't know that I would play a remaster, but it's coming out this fall.
Yeah, I think they have an entire team devoted to working on Age of Empires games, so expect
There's
more of
supposedly
them.
a new one in the works, but we didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah.
Wasteland 3, which is some sort of like turn-based isometric XCOM style thing with like comedy, sort of. There was like an old prospector telling you about all this.
Previous Wasteland games, and they're kind of like old Fallout games a little bit. Like,
really?
I think people who don't like the Bethesda version of Fallout are the ones playing Wasteland. This one just seemed to be going for more of an over-the-top sort of personality. They were just trying to add a lot of personality to it. I don't know. Yeah. I wasn't against it. I didn't think it looked bad. I just don't know if I'll ever get around to playing it.
Yeah, it didn't really tick any boxes for me. But the next thing, Double Fine, who is a cool company, Tim Schafer, they're joining Xbox Game Studios with Psychonauts 2.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Psychonauts?
I did not. No, I don't know that I can think of any Double Fine game that I've played.
Really? Psychonauts is a good game.
Even though I like the studio, I think they do a lot of really creative stuff, and I'm glad that they got bought so that they'll have support and not go under. But I can't think of any one that I've played. I may have played one that I didn't realize was a Double Fine game, but
I like Psychonauts. I think I have it on Steam. I think I bought it on a Steam sale. If it is on Steam, maybe I played an emulator of it, but
so are you excited for Psychonauts 2 then?
I think so. I think I'll play it. I don't know when it's going to come out. I don't think they gave a release date.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I like the classic platformers where like collectathon style things, like a Banjo-Kazooie type thing.
Yeah, I kind of wouldn't mind them, now that they are owned by Microsoft, having the budget to do something on a larger scale even.
Speaking of things on a larger scale, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, all 9 films.
Oh gosh, how many times are they gonna make this? This is like the 300th Lego Star Wars game, probably. I don't know.
Are these just ports of the old ones, or is this a completely new game?
I have no idea. I was listening to, I think, a Game Informer podcast or something where they were talking about this, and they said that they thought that they were redoing the old games, like the stuff they did for the old ones. So
that's interesting.
I don't know why they would need to do that, but it's supposed to have all 9 films too. So there you go.
Dragon Ball Z is something I grew up with. I don't know about you, Zach.
I did, yeah.
And this is what I was asking. I feel like we talked about this a long time ago.
We talked about this multiple times, I feel like.
A Dragon Ball Z action RPG where it seems like you're just Goku and you're going throughout the whole series and you're like leveling up, and it's not necessarily like a fighter, like a 2D fighter. You're like playing as Goku, which is super interesting to me.
Yeah, so we did a Dragon Ball Fighter Z video, and we talked about how we wanted a game like this. And then later, like a week or two later, there was a leak about how there was a Dragon Ball RPG game coming up. And so we talked about it on that podcast, and we were like, this is what we want. We want an RPG, and it was supposed to, I guess, go through Kakarot's story, like his whole story throughout the entire timeline of Dragon Ball Z, I guess.
Just Z? Does it go into Super?
I don't know. So this was another weird way of presenting it, where they had like two end title screens. Like the first one seemed like almost a mistake, where it was like Dragon Ball Game Project Z or whatever. It was like a working title, or like one of those like Project Scarlet type of names, like not the thing that it's actually gonna be called. And then like a second later, another title screen popped up that was like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. And so I was like, what is the actual name of this game? So I don't know. I typed it in the notes as Dragon Ball Project Z : Kakarot. I'm not sure what it is though. Then
from the highs of Dragon Ball Z to the lows of like funny games. Did you ever watch that movie?
No.
Don't ever watch it. A weird Groundhog's Day game where you and your wife are constantly getting tied up and tortured and killed.
Oh yeah. This was like, it was called 12 Minutes, and it's like a top-down thriller about a time loop. And it seemed like, so the husband of this relationship has some sort of information that the wife doesn't know about, and he's trying to explain it to her just before a cop bashes down the door and starts shooting them. And based on how you make decisions and how the scene plays out, you might learn more details and like try to figure out how to get through the time loop or like break the loop somehow. I don't know.
It's like that. It's that minute game, but on a much larger scale.
I don't know. It seemed kind of interesting.
I will not play this. This seems way too stressful for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'll play it or not, but I was not as down on it as you sound.
A game I'm high on, though, is Way to the Woods, which has, I didn't realize this from the last trailer, but amazing music, and it seems super fun. I love the art style. This is a game I will definitely play. You play as I guess like a mother or a father deer with their baby deer, and you're exploring post-apocalyptic city kind of a thing, like no humans.
Yeah, I was not sure. There was a previous trailer to this?
Yeah, it was. I don't think they had as good a soundtrack, but I remember seeing those antlers that lit up. I don't think it was last E3. I don't remember where I saw this, but I gotta say, it took my breath away.
It did look pretty cool. Yeah, it was weird. The antlers light up like a flashlight, and the father deer was like ramming into this vending machine to like get something out of it.
Maybe this was at last E3. Maybe that's where I saw this.
It might have been, and I just don't remember it. But speaking of things we don't remember, Gears 5 is coming out September 10th, and they had some weird abstract trailer. And I was watching the Game Informer stream where they like had the Microsoft conference on in the background, and they were just sort of talking over it. And one of the guys was like, if you had told me that Gears 5 had already come and gone and I just forgot about it, I would have believed you. And I was like, yes,
I would have believed you too.
Exactly. That is exactly how I feel about this game.
But also, Zach, there Terminator's in it? ?
Yeah, so they had this weird 3-player cooperative mode. Side note, lots of 3-player cooperative stuff. Why 3-player? I don't know, but that was sort of a theme of E3, I'm noticing. But anyway, it's called Escape, and it seems very Call of Duty Zombies to me, just based on the trailer they showed. And then randomly, there was like a Terminator crossover thing happening called Dark Fate. And without explaining what that meant or how that was going to play into the escape mode, or if they were separate modes altogether, they just kind of like walked off stage or like, okay, I guess you're done then.
Not the last Terminator thing with no context we'll see this E3.
Yeah, another weird thing that we'll get to later, I guess.
Then they talked about the new Elite controllers, Series 2, which are like even more well made. I've never heard anyone complain about the old Elite controllers. They're pretty much like the standard for great controllers. And now they're making a newer, better one. So
very expensive, but very nice controllers as well, from what I've heard.
Dying Light 2 was fine.
Coming spring next year. This is a game that I feel like has been out or should have come out already and has been in development for a long time. And I'm always like, that game's not out yet. I don't know. I feel like we've seen a million trailers for it. And every time they show me another one, I'm like, have I seen this already? I don't know. I'm zombied out, so I really don't care about this game.
I couldn't agree more. Then Forza Horizon 4, yawn. But wait. Actually, there's Legos now. They have a partnership with Lego, and there's a bunch of Lego cars.
What a weird little thing. Like, I don't care about Forza Horizon 4, but I mean, this was kind of cool just in a weird, fun sort of add-on. Like, who would have even thought to pair these two things? But
Gears Pop, we don't need to talk about this. It's just mobile game nonsense.
No, come on. This was your favorite thing of the show. Top
What even
moment.
is it?
So it's a Clash Royale clone, but it's themed to Gears of War, and nobody cares.
Nobody cares, and that's the last we'll say about Gears Pop. Although I do like the name Gears Pop.
Yeah, it sounds like a soda.
State of Decay 2 Heartland?
Yeah, I mean, this is another sort of theme that I'm noticing this year's E3. It's a lot of like showing off expansions for existing games as opposed to showing off new games, which I don't know if that's a symptom of the fact that a lot of people are sort of playing their cards fairly close to their chest, considering we have a new console generation coming.
I think that's
the
probably
end of
what
next
it is.
year. But it's also, I think, partly because pretty much every game has to have a long tail now. Like, that's just sort of how the industry works, I guess. But it kind of baffles me a little bit because I can't think of a lot of games that I go back to, especially if they're not like a game as service. They're just like a normal single player game. There's not a lot of them that once I finish, I go back to. So I don't know who's dying for some State of Decay 2 DLC, but maybe they're out there. Who knows?
Who knows? Phantasy Star Online 2.
This was a surprise.
I have never played a Phantasy Star Online game, but based on this trailer, it seems insane.
Yeah, I think people are very high on this because I think it's another one of those sort of cult classics because people played it on like the Dreamcast or whatever, and it's been successful in Japan, and I think people wanted it to come west, and now it finally is. And it's free to play and has cross save. So that's
good.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. I mean, because it's free, I might check it out. I don't know. See what the buzz is all about.
If you do that, we should definitely make a video on it.
Yeah, we should. Did they say when it was coming? Spring 2020?
Just spring 2020,
okay.
yeah.
So in the mess of games coming out early next year.
So from cross save to Crossfire X, I've never heard of this game, Zach.
Do you remember in the 90s there was that like little board game type thing that had like a gun and you would shoot, and it was called Crossfire? And
I don't think it's related to that, but what if it is?
I mean, for sure it's not. I just remember the commercials and they would sing that song, Crossfire.
This looks like a weird... I don't know what this is. Do you know what this is? They said they have like 6 million players or something.
So apparently this is kind of a Counter-Strike style game that's huge in China and Korea and is just now coming to the West. I don't know.
So it's like terrorist versus, or like, how is it like Counter-Strike? It's like matches, or?
This is what I've heard. I am not aware of what the gameplay is actually like, so I couldn't tell you. This is just what I've heard. Maybe we should do some research on it. I don't know.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Tales of Arise also coming in 2020. I don't know anything about this either.
Is this connected to the Tales of Vesperia game? Do you remember that?
I don't know what that is, no.
Okay, I don't know what it is either. I know this was one of the things that was leaked a few days ahead of this press conference, but...
Borderlands 3? Are you hot on this or no?
No, I mean, I played the first Borderlands and I started Borderlands 2, and then I stopped playing, and I have not given 1 second of thought to Borderlands since then. But I know people love Borderlands, so I guess it's a big deal for those people.
A bigger deal though, Zach. Let's dive into this, because I want your thoughts on this. Elden Ring, which was leaked, but we got a cinematic trailer for it. How do you feel about this?
Well, I'm torn because this is George R.R. Martin working with
From Software?
Yes. And on the one hand, I guess I like George R.R. Martin. I'm confused now at the ending of Game of Thrones, which I did not like.
I don't know that was he involved in that though, or was that just the showrunners going off on their own thing?
I mean, that's a conversation to be had for another time. I like George R.R. Martin for his ability to do world building and create these very rich histories for very interesting established worlds. So on the one hand, I think it's very cool that he is working with From Software on this game. But then on the other hand, I am kind of not interested in it if it ends up being just another Soulsborne game, because I don't know that I would play it if it was.
I don't know, man. I almost bought Sekiro because it seemed like enough of an iteration where I was a little more interested in a Souls type game.
Yeah, I mean,
so this could be another iteration of that where it becomes more accessible.
Yeah, I mean, people love them, and I don't know. I want to see more. I'm very curious to see what gameplay looks like and kind of get a sense of what the story in the world is like. But the cinematic trailer showed basically nothing, so it's hard to say.
I'm sure we probably won't get any trailer or like gameplay until next E3, I would bet. That's what happened with Bloodborne.
Most likely that's the case, yeah.
Or Sekiro, I mean. All right, so then we get into some tech talk, Zach. You ready for this tech talk?
I'm ready.
xCloud. It's basically Stadia for your Xbox. And I took that to mean the server is your Xbox kind of a thing. Like you're pulling from sort of their servers, but more your own Xbox. Am I reading that right?
Well, so it's both. So they have servers that you can pull from, but you can also turn your own Xbox console into a server that you can then stream games to your phone from. So kind of like how you used to be able to play Destiny on your Vita from your PS4. Right. It'll be a little bit like that, but coming from an Xbox to your phone.
And then they talked about that new console, Zach.
Project Scarlet coming holiday 2020.
Hit me with those tech specs.
So 4 times more powerful than the Xbox One X.
Ooh.
Capable of 8K resolution, 120 frames a second.
Oh my God.
Ray tracing.
What?
A new generation of SSD for RAM.
This didn't make sense to me. So they use part of the SSD as the RAM?
I was also confused by this. I was hoping you could explain it to me.
I mean, in theory, they're just like they're making part of it volatile and making it, I don't know. I guess this is a good idea. They only had Project Scarlet. We don't know what it's actually called yet. It's not going to be called Project Scarlet. It's going to be called probably Xbox. Who knows what it's going to be called, actually?
It was weird that they chose to go ahead and like lay the specs out on the table if they didn't have like a prototype to show. I felt like this maybe could have waited till next E3 when they had
next E3 is the one where they're going to say like, this is Xbox Plus or whatever coming Christmas.
I guess Sony laid out their specs a little bit as well, so maybe it made sense for Microsoft to say, okay, well, here are our specs then. But yeah, this is all sort of holdover until next E3. Next E3 is going to be huge. And I feel like Sony will be back and they'll be there showing their new console. And I feel like that's when we'll get the official name and they'll actually show what the box looks like, what the controller looks like, and give us some sort of demos of what things look like on it. It was weird because the video they had some devs there talking about sort of the tech specs and stuff like that and how they were designing it. And one of the guys was like, you're going to see stuff like resolution and frame rates that we've never, ever seen before. And then they said 120 frames a second. I was like, you realize that we currently have like monitors and computers capable of over 200 frames a second. Like my monitor can do 144. So like it's not unheard of. In the console space, sure, like that's pretty mind-blowing. And my hope for the next generation is kind of like how right now will it be 60 frames a second or 30 frames? And so like there's always this sort of back and forth. Do you want higher resolution and 60 frame or higher resolution and 30 frames, or do you want 60 frames and like 1080? And I think next generation that's going to bump up, and it's going to go from do you want 60 to do you want 120? And so the thing that I've wanted for a long time is for people to stop necessarily worrying about resolution and the highest possible graphical output and start concentrating more on frames, because that to me is more important as just like from a gaming perspective. Games feel so much better when running at a higher frame rate.
I agree.
So, I mean, you can make the case that it's not right for all games, but I still feel like they play better and look better and feel better at a higher frame rate. So I'm glad to see that the next console generation is targeting 120. They're not even targeting 60. They're not saying, okay, it's gonna, for sure, 60 is the baseline. This is what we're gonna hit from now on. Like, you can leave 30 frames a second in the past. It's never gonna happen again. They went like a step further and they're saying 120, and that's awesome. But you also have to have a monitor that can do that. So there's that.
So we learned one other thing about the new console, and it is that it's going to launch with Halo, and we had an elongated trailer for the new Halo, but we did not learn anything new about it.
Yeah, it's weird to see a new trailer and still know as much as you knew before.
Crazily, I feel like we got more information about it last year. Like we got something in engine last year, I feel like, whereas this is definitely cinematic.
Yeah, it was Master Chief shows up and...
Well, no, it starts out with this guy who's like some guy we've never met, and he's in some spaceship. He's chilling out. There's like a leak he has to stop. And then he's been there for a while. He has a beard. And then he gets like a distress call or whatever, or like a thing, like a beacon. And he like wipes his window, and it's Master Chief just floating in space. And then he pulls Master Chief in, plugs him in, and he wakes up, and then Master Chief is just like, "What's up?" And then this guy's like, "Oh man, you don't know. Take a look at this." And then you see like a halo that's been kind of blown up, and then, I mean, that's it. Yeah. That's all we get.
Still not a lot of details in there.
Zero details, zero gameplay. We don't know why it's called Infinite. We don't know anything. Like, is it a games as service type thing? Like, what is it?
Based on seeing this, I feel like this is definitely not going to be that. I feel like this is going to be a pretty standard Halo game as far as the story goes. And obviously they're going to have their multiplayer modes that everybody's going to love. But I feel like they're not going to do something as drastic as trying to break the mold and do something like a Destiny style game in the Halo universe. Especially since we saw Master Chief, it wasn't like some other dude, you know?
It was weird.
Yeah, so I mean, if you were getting your hopes up for a more Destiny style game as service where you kind of create your own Spartan. I feel like that's not where this is heading. I could be wrong, but
they made a big deal about, like, you know, Halo is the reason people bought the Xbox, and so this Halo will be the reason people buy the Xbox whatever.
Oh yeah, also on PC.
Also on PC. So I wonder if it's going to be, I feel like it has to be revolutionary in some way. It can't just be I don't know. Maybe it can just be the single player with like the multiplayer everyone loves. Maybe it will just be that.
I mean, I'm with you. That's what I wanted it to be, was something more akin to like a Destiny style game. Maybe we should stop hoping everything is Destiny and people hate that idea. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. I expected them to do something a little bit different. But I was thinking about it the other day after watching this trailer again, and I was like, I think they might be a little crazy to do something so out of the box for Halo, because would they anger fans? Do you think that they would make people mad if they decided to do that instead of keeping it normal? I mean, it's not a numbered Halo game, so it could just be an offshoot.
Wasn't the last one not Halo?
I thought it was Halo 5.
No, there was one after that, wasn't there?
I don't know. I've lost track of the Halo series.
Oh, man, I have no idea. Halo Guardians? That's something, right?
That sounds like Destiny to me.
We don't know anything about Xbox.
Yeah. This generation of Xbox games has evaded us completely since we've moved over to PlayStation, but...
Well, I would ask you what your favorite thing from the conference was, but I am pretty sure it's what is my favorite thing, which is Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, so what was your overall feeling about the Microsoft conference? Could you give it a grade if you had to?
I would give it an A- to B+ maybe. They didn't have my hallmarks. They had one of my 3 hallmarks. They had a bunch of games, which was great, but they didn't have a cool opener or a one more thing. They did have Keanu Reeves though, which counts for something. Yeah, I don't know, a B+, a A-, that kind of range. What about you?
I think I would leave it in the B range, because like you said, there was no interesting opener. There was no one more thing. A lot of what we saw, we already knew about. I guess there was a lot of world premieres, but they were smaller games. Yeah. And there was no gameplay. There was I kind of miss, I know they were terrible at times. They were super awkward, but I kind of miss the E3 of old, where there was just a lot of on-stage demos where a guy would come out with a controller and be like, hey, this is the new Call of Duty, check out this mission, and you would see the guy literally play it, and one of the devs would be explaining what was going on, and then it would be time to leave. I mean, those could get super awkward, but I kind of miss those a little bit. But yeah, speaking of which, no Call of Duty. We were speculating that there would be Call of Duty at this show, and we would finally get to see what their new engine was capable of, but maybe that's for a separate show altogether. Yeah, I mean, since they were usually at Sony, we can't really... Maybe they'll just release a trailer tomorrow? Who knows? But well, we were talking about it the other day. Didn't they do their own press conference for the last Black Ops game? Yeah, so I think you're right. I don't remember when it was, but I feel like they'll just do their own show at some point. Yeah. Well, that was Microsoft. We've got a couple others, Ubisoft on the pipeline, and Square, which was way too long, but we're going to talk about it. And then Nintendo will be the last one, and who knows, maybe Nintendo will blow these all out of the water. Yeah, so as of this recording, we've seen, I guess, all the conferences except for Nintendo. And there's a Netflix one happening on Wednesday. What? I didn't know about that. Yeah, I don't know when it is, but I've recently become aware of the fact that Netflix is doing some sort of conference on Wednesday. So look out for that. That is crazy to me. We've seen most of them. We'll do a little sort of E3 wrap show where we sort of go over all the biggest stuff and sort of compare them and decide who actually won E3, if you can say that. So if you liked this, give us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you thought of Microsoft's conference. Follow us on Twitter at Starside Cafe, and you can also send us an email at starsidecafe@gmail.com, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya. Goodbye.